Now, unless you've been living on a rock, you'll have seen that P.Diddy has basically been labelled the next Jeffrey Epstein. So what's happened? So the reality is, Diddy's been charged with sex trafficking charges, all types of issues because of one thing that's been going on for probably a while, and that is the fact he has a house on the East Coast of the United States, a house on the West Coast of the United States. He's been bringing in trafficking sex workers, and then he's basically been bringing big name guests to his party, who he's been basically spiking the drinks, getting fucked up, and then filming them having sex with these people with hidden cameras. Now, an example of this is right now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man.
It's so unfortunate.
You gotta pull back though, so they can see. That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look. Would you?
With a drink on his head.
And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He is a actual DJs. I'm supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to them. I put them to sleep.
And what makes this wild is this is some of the biggest names in the world. People from Barack Obama to LeBron James, across all different types of industries. And if you were one of these people who's attended one of these parties, you'd be absolutely shitting a brick right now. And there's a huge amount of lessons you can learn from a business perspective and a personal life perspective that I want you to take from this video. But if you look what's actually gone on throughout the last few months, last few years in terms of what P. Diddy's been doing, the fact that he managed to get away with basically abusing and beating up his girlfriend at the time and dragging her around a hotel, and footage of that came out everywhere and nothing happened about it, shows obviously the leverage and power he has, or had, because at the moment he's completely fucked. Because he has all this footage of people in high power positions, which no doubt he's negotiating, holding people to, but that's now slipping. Now, what is going to happen is there's going to be people involved in this situation who have access maybe to these files, who know what's going on, or who, for example, the FBI are going to actually find out the people involved. And those people are going to basically be owned by the government. They will have to do whatever they say because they won't want this information to be released, and it will completely tarnish their careers. Because if you look at someone like P. Diddy, for example, now he's completely ruined, but anyone else involved with this, if your name starts to get linked, it's going to be huge, huge problems. And this has already affected badly on Justin Bieber as an example. And a lesson I would take from a business perspective of this is why you need to be very careful in terms of who you associate with. Who do you have photos with? Who do you engage with on social media? Who do you actually go out with physically? What parties do you attend? Because one of the biggest lessons I would say I've learned in life is nothing really productive happens after like 10 p.m. at night. Only bad stuff happens late at night. If you think about like drink driving, having sex with people you shouldn't be doing drugs you shouldn't be doing, none of these things add to your life. So a very, very simple rule of thumb is not to put yourself in a situation where you can actually cause like press the big red button, end everything situation, and you really screw up your life. Because it is that easy. If you implicate yourself in something like this, you ended up drink driving, overdosing on drugs, doing all those type of things. And that's how a lot of men ruin their lives, is generally after 10 p.m. at night, doing something incredibly stupid. Now, in terms of other business lessons you can take from this, there's one thing you have to understand, is that your reputation and trust are very fragile. So if you have a massive global scandal come out like this, bang, you're off the radar, you're almost like the most hated man in the world straight away. And this is where you have to understand that financially, this is going to ruin him because of the legal fees involved will be massive, all his businesses, people aren't going to want to work with him, all his sponsors are dropping off. So not only are you destroying your personal life, your personal reputation, but financially it's going to wipe you out. Now, what's interesting with this is that he's going to actually end up getting dragged through the courts and judicial system of the United States. But whether he actually gets there is another thing, because the reality is probably a lot of people who want to get rid of him, and you know what that means, because the fact is he has a lot of information on dirt on other people. But this dirt will come out because his assistant and other people must have access to these files. And I'm sure the FBI and the feds in the United States will also have access to get this information. And this is where this stuff gets leaked. People's reputations are going to get ruined overnight. And the last lesson I would add into this is understanding crisis management and leadership. Obviously, the position is you don't want to put yourself in a crisis, but when you have a business and when you have yourself you need to protect and look after, how you actually respond to situations is very, very important. And situations like this is obviously something like no one watching this is ever going to probably have, or myself. But you have to understand you're going to have crises in life. But the secret is to actually avoid the iceberg and try not to hit in the iceberg rather than hitting the iceberg and trying to fill in the hole. So if you can do that, you don't have to have crisis management. But the big thing is actually looking at leadership in terms of how you're dealing with problems. The best way I'd recommend anyone dealing with a problem is A, speaking with someone who's within your organization, actually like mind mapping out, okay, what is the problem? How do we solve it? Write every single solution down on a whiteboard, like I do that on a lot next to me with the whiteboard next to me. And that's the easiest way in terms of how you can compartmentalize, see a broad overview of a problem, and then see the solutions. What's the big problem? What are the solutions? And that's how you break things down and you chunk them into little bits. And then the goal from there is you take the lowest hanging fruit, what's the easiest thing you can implement to fix the problem, and then you fix it. From P.Diddy's situation, he's completely fucked. And respectfully, he deserves everything that comes to him from the things that have happened. I doubt anything that this has come out has been taken overboard by the media, because I don't trust the modern media at all. But the reality is this is very like cut and white, black and dry in terms of what's gone on. If you took value from this video, smash the like button, comment below your thoughts on the situation, and subscribe to the channel.